What is going on, guys? This is Epic Spawn the Hunted here, and I apologize. I took way too long to start making these videos, but I did just recently upload my very last episode of the playthrough. I finished the summit, so now we're going to be talking about some other stuff in the game, some other content. I'm going to be going through every level and how to get the pet, what good builds to use, and what the pets do. And I'm going to try really hard not to be repetitive during the video. There's a lot of similar stuff you could do on every level, so I'm not going to try to repeat myself too much. I just want to say a couple things before we get into level specifics. The Apprentice is super strong right now, and is what typically everyone is using right now. I don't know if balance changes are a thing. I did not know a PC version of this game existed until like a year or two ago. So I don't know if they do balance changes to Dungeon Defenders. But right now, the Apprentice is super strong. Squire and Monk, really good as well. But the Apprentice is what everyone is using, and it's very powerful. And so, the big thing about getting to wave 15 on Insane, as these videos for the pets aren't even going to 25, by the way. I'm pretty sure every level, once you hit wave 25, you get a giraffe. And then whatever the giraffe rules, that's random, just like every other pet. But wave 25, you always get a giraffe. Okay, and so I'm talking about the wave 15 pets. And in this case, the griffin, the Mr. Mine, the steam robot, and the propeller cat. Now, the higher level you are, the more less attentive you can be. I would say you could probably do this by level 50, 60. I'm level 70, so this was very easy and chill for me. The higher level you are, the less you can get away with paying attention to your build. The lower you are, you have to help your builds and constantly repair. Now, with that in mind, even with such high level, my gear is still pretty crap. I still had to take a lot of attention when I was dealing with an ogre, but I found if you're playing as the Squire, if you switch to the Squire and have some decent gear, you can actually just right click to block the ogre, and it will diminish most of the damage. So you can just sit there, tank it, and let your turrets just shred down his health, and then those are the egos pretty easily dealt with. If you stay as your Apprentice, DPS him down, repair afterward. Overall, these are not hard to get. The first act is pretty easy. The ogres are like the number one worry, and they're not that hard to deal with at all. Okay, so now that we have all that out of the way, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the deeper wells. This is where you get the Griffin pets. Now, the Griffin pet doesn't have any special abilities or stats. It is simply just a melee pets, and what it rolls is dependent on the level. So I've seen 14, 20, 24, all the way up to 60 like the other gear. You want a level 60 drop, obviously. Alright, so for the deeper wells, I went for a apprentice slash monk slash squire build. So I'm going to talk about the barricades first. Unless you're super high level and have really good gear and you feel really confident in your stats, you should definitely always use barriers. On the Squire for this level, I have every single point into tower health, so that these barriers have about 40,000 hit points, I believe it was. Somewhere around there. So next we have the monk strength drain auras in front of the barricades. That is so that those get rid of any elemental effects on the enemies, which is super useful since the thing that's dealing with most of the mobs is the fire blast turret on the apprentice. Now for the monk talent points, I have most of it on health and some of it on range, because you want the range of the aura to kind of match the range of the fire blast. Otherwise, you're kind of wasting some value. Now, the main damage dealer, of course, the apprentice, we have the fire blast and the two deadly strike towers. The two deadly strike towers appear to first of all, if you have high enough stats, it reaches the entire map, and they shoot them right out of spawn. So it does help with the smaller mobs as well, but these are mainly for the ogres and they prioritize ogres. So make sure to have some of these down and keep up the upgrades so that they're doing plenty of damage. And now, for the apprentices stat points, I have most of it in tower damage, and then I have specifically 5 points in range and 5 points in defense rate, just so they are being more effective from a farther distance and at a faster rate. I'm using a level 60 Mr. Mine, which is the best you can get. I'm pretty sure a level 60 just until Nightmare Mode comes out. So the Mr. Mine is drastically increasing a bunch of my stats as well. And if I would highly suggest Mr. Mine being the first pet you go for, actually, because the increase in stats he provides is insane. And then there you go. That's pretty much the setup for the Deeper Wells. Really easy to pull off and a lot quicker than the other maps. My last tip is to make sure you don't hang out around the crystal all that much, because the assassins will jump over all your towers and attack you. And if you're standing close enough to the crystal, they will also hit the crystal. And with you being on an insane, it does not take a lot for the crystal to get destroyed. Next, we have the Ancient Mines. This one, a bit of a simpler build, and this is purely a Squire build. This one was actually a lot of fun, just because I hadn't done this yet. So, I have 4 harpoon turrets on each side, alongside a barricade to keep them from getting to the harpoons, of course. And then we have bowling ball turrets behind them. The one on the far right is not that effective. You could replace that with something else if you wanted to. I just did that to keep it even and symmetrical. But the other 2 bowling ball turrets are really good because the lanes either stay level or go downhill, so they get a lot more value. And I really like using the harpoon turrets because they pierce. The fire blast has a blast radius and the harpoon pierces. So they both have, a lot of potential, and they're both really good. It was just fun using the harpoon turrets for a change. Now I moved my Mr. Mine pet over to my Squire for this, and I put most of my points into damage, and then have some into range and defense rate. Just like I did for the Apprentice, I just moved it over to the Squire so that he could do this solo. And then this was the level I discovered that if you just tank the ogres with the shield and some good gear, then the tower is pretty much do all the work for you. Just watch your health, watch their health. And then, so this is pretty easy. That's pretty much it for this level. My only other tip is to make sure you stand on the wooden, rafts in the middle, because the assassins will not target you there. If you walk anywhere else on the map, the assassins will jump over all your stuff and attack you, especially if you're near the crystal. So if you stand on the wood in the middle, they will not target you. Next, we have the Steam Robot. This one, I went with the same build with the Apprentice. I wanted to try to mix stuff up, but these take a long time to go through. Each run took me about an hour, if not longer. So I wanted to make sure I did something that worked, that I was confident with. So this, I did everything I did with the Deeper Wells on the lava mines. So I'm sorry, it's a bit, like I said, I'm going to try not to repeat myself too much, but pretty much every reason we did the stuff in the Deeper Wells, it's the exact same on the lava mines. So at wave 15, you get the Steam Robot, which is a melee pet like the Griffin, and it projects a AoE move that knocks back enemies. Not a huge and really good pet, but it looks kind of cool. And something I meant to mention as well, with all the Deadly Strike Towers and maybe even the Fire Blast turrets, is to place them a little further back so that when the ogres are on top of the Squire barricade, to place them a little further back so that they might still get hit with the snot balls, but they are not getting hit by the ogre when it swings its club. And then the Deadly Strike Towers to the left, make sure they're positioned to where they can hit the lane and the wyverns coming from the left. Don't forget about the wyverns. Okay, so the Alchemical Laboratory pretty close to the same idea, a little different. I have all the points into the apprentice, squire, and monk like I did before. I just used some of the barricades a little differently and some of the towers a little differently. So up front we have the spike barricade and strength drain, or like we did before, and fire blast in the middle. I have it farther back on the pipe so that they aren't hit by the ogre when it swings. And then paired with the fire blast, I also have 2 arcane missile turrets. Just because I had the extra space, and just to deal that little more damage. In the middle, next to the crystal, we have 3 deadly strike towers. I did this for no particular reason. They hit a wider area because it's on the farther end of the cone. So I was hoping I could cover more of the map, putting them all the way back here. So those are also, of course, to prioritize the ogres. They do a ton of damage. They shoot really far. They go through walls. The deadly strike towers are overall just really good. And then what's a bit different about this build is in the far back on the 2 smaller staircases, I have strength drain with a magic missile, fire blast, and a apprentice mana shield. Just because it took a little less room, and there's actually not a whole lot of mobs to go through that lane, so you can easily get away with that small barricade, and it hardly take any damage. So once you hit wave 15 for the alchemical laboratory, you get the propeller cat, which, depending on which role you get, it goes up to 60 like the other pets and other gear. It greatly increases your attack damage. Now, I've seen some crazy stats on these propeller cats that make you do insane damage. I have yet to get one, so I cannot talk from experience. I'm going to have to farm this pet myself to see how crazy it can get. But apparently, it's pretty nutty. And there you go, guys. So a lot of the tips I shared at the beginning and throughout the video, you can use for every level. I've yet to try Act 2 and Act 3. It is going to be a lot more difficult, but those videos should be out soon as well. I plan on getting all 3 of these up before the next Bleeding Edge. Actually, scratch that. I'm planning on getting these up within the next week. That's the time limit I'm giving myself. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe for more content like this. We're gonna be keeping up with Dungeon Defenders, keeping up with, a couple other games that I plan on playing. So I want to bid you guys a good day, and just in case I don't see you later, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Bye.